right, I'll just kick it off and then whoever hops on, hops on. But thanks for everybody for hopping on tonight. So our goal with these weekly Zoom calls is really to help you with some of the most common questions that we get as coaches. And so the first one, obviously, is one of the most important that we're talking about tonight, and that's nutrition. So what I'll ask you all to do, if you don't mind, is muting yourselves for now. And then at the end, we're going to open it up for questions that you might have concerning nutrition and what I'm going to be talking about tonight. And also, take notes, write down questions that you might have. And then also coaches on here, Amanda, Renee, I see you, and Sherry. Feel free to chime in if there's something that I miss that you feel would be important to share along the way. But for those of you that are doing Morning Meltdown 100, you'll notice that you're going to be seeing a post every day from somebody else, and it's because we're all coaches, and every day a different coach is going to be posting. And we like running some of our challenge groups together just because it's just more fun. It creates more energy, and then you also have the support of 7 coaches cheering for you and answering questions for you. And so if you're confused on maybe why that is, I just wanted to explain that first and foremost. All right, so first topic today is on nutrition, like I said. So 90% of your results are going to be based on what you eat, unfortunately. So, you'll see this teeter-totter at the bottom, I think that's what you call it, right? Where you can't out-exercise a bad diet. You just can't. And believe me, I have tried many times and it never works out. I like to drink alcohol on the weekends, and I like to indulge in pizza, and I like chocolate, and I like ice cream, and I like everything. And I still allow those things into my life because I enjoy them. They bring me pleasure. I like socializing. I like getting out. I like going to parties. But when I find that I'm off balance, when I'm consuming too much of those things and not enough of the things I should be providing with my body, that's where, the tight pants come in, the weight gain comes in, and stuff like that. So I feel like I've tried it all, and a lot of coaches have as well. But Beachbody, fortunately, has saved the day and came out with 2 programs, both of which I've tried, both of which a lot of the coaches on this call have tried. And I think it's safe to say that we've all seen results with both of them. And it just really is a matter of what works for you, and also just trial and error. I mean, maybe just starting with one, seeing if it works for you, and if it doesn't, adjusting and maybe trying the other one. And I know some of us kind of combine the 2 of them as well. So I'm going to be talking about the differences between the 2 programs. But first, I'll go to the next slide, which is about, this was actually included in the Morning Meltdown 100 nutrition guide. And so I wanted to just touch on it real quick because I do agree with this a lot. So the point of this one is let's get started. So you need to find your eating chart, and they break it down really simply here. So you find your plan in 4 steps. So number 1, obviously, you need to decide if your goal is to lose weight or if it's to maintain your weight, because that is going to be a big difference. And I think these charts, now that that this is available to us, I really do agree wholeheartedly with these charts, because I could see where I was maintaining my weight based on this chart when my goal was at that time to lose weight. And this is what I should have been following. So number 2, you're going to pick a chart based on your goal. So if your goal is to lose weight, focus on this chart. If your goal is to maintain your weight, focus on this chart. So first step is to find your current weight on the left-hand side here. And then you're simply going to move over. So if you're here, plan B, this is what they're estimating your calorie should be, about 1,500 calories. You should be consuming a breakfast, a snack, a lunch, a snack, and a dinner. If you're in plan C or D, and you're like, well, what's a super snack? So the difference between a snack and a super snack is basically the amount of calories in it. So a snack is a roughly about 150 calories. So that could be like an apple and peanut butter, or, you know, Shakeology with water, stuff like that. A super snack is more like 300 calorie range. Okay. So, and then it will tell you if you could have 2 snacks, you know, based on your current weight. So for me, I would be plan A here. So I should really be having breakfast, lunch, and dinner, is what my plan should be. Now, when I move over to maintaining weight, then you know, I could space it out and have some more calories. So, you know, right now I would just say, you know, if you have a pen and paper available or your phone to take notes, just look at the chart on what your goal is and then write down, you know, about how many calories you should be consuming, and then, you know, how many meals you should be consuming in a day, because that's important. All right, and I'll be going on to the next slide here. So like I mentioned, Beachbody is amazing, and just in the past few years, they came out with 2 nutrition programs. So the Portion Fix, you might have heard of, that was with the 21-day fix with Autumn Calabrese that rolled out a couple of years ago. And it was so successful that they actually just implemented that system with a lot of the new programs that rolled out, a lot of the new fitness programs. They were just like, follow the Portion Fix because this is what's working for so many people that are dropping the weight and keeping it off. And the Portion Fix is great. I mean, I started it, and that was really what helped me learn what foods to eat, how many of each food group, and calorie allotment. So it did help me in the beginning stages of my journey. And really, it's more structured. So you'll see the containers. It's portion controlled eating, and also, like I said, this is how many vegetables you should be eating. This is how much protein you should be eating in a given day. Now, the 2B mindset, on the other hand, also a great system that works very well. I've kind of adjusted myself to be more like the 2B mindset just in recent months, just for the ease of it. But this is more of a plate visualization method. So it's looking at your plate and saying, okay, it's breakfast. What should my plate look like? How much, you know, you can see the kind of that picture there where it's, you know, half vegetables, 25% protein, and 25% FFCs, which I'll get into what that is. But that's good for people like on the go. Like I would say, you know, busy people, people that travel often. It's great for that. Portion Fix is more for like if you're really type A and just like to track things, which I did enjoy tracking it. And there's apps for that too. So I'm going to go into explaining a little bit about both of them, and then just to give you a better idea of how they both work. So maybe, you know, you could kind of get a glimpse into what you think you would prefer based on you and your lifestyle. So with 21-day fix, how it works is there's first a calculator that is used to determine your allotment of the day. So typically, this is very similar to the slide I showed you with the first slide where we wrote down how many calories you should be shooting for and how many meals per day. It's very similar to that. So for instance, I said I was, you know, in this group, the first group. So for me, I should be shooting here. It says between 1,200 and 1,499 calories. To figure out your exact calorie intake, you could do this quick little calculator here down there. And so if you are less than 1,200, they always say to go up to at least 1,200. That should be the absolute minimum that you should consume in a given day. But you could do that. So for the 21-day fix, it says, you know, I should be consuming 3 green, 2 purple, 4 red, yellow, blue, orange, and teaspoon. It breaks you down exactly what you should be having. And then over here on the right, what is a green? That's the vegetables. Purple is fruit, red protein, yellow carbs, blue healthy fat, and the orange is like seeds and dressings. And then the teaspoon, which isn't on this list, is like peanut butter and oils. So for me, this really helped tremendously because I will say that every calorie is not the same, right? So what my old mindset used to be was, oh, a calorie is a calorie. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, I could have, a box of Skittles, and then I could have like an ice cream cone. And guess what? That does not work for your body. Okay. It's not going to provide you the energy you need. It's not going to get the results you desire. It's going to lead to burnout, and you're going to come crashing down. Okay. I have a big sweet tooth. So that did not work for me. Once I started following this system of learning, okay, I need to be eating more vegetables and more protein, way less carbs. I was definitely a carbaholic. I started to see results. And with this program, there's also an app called the 21 Day Fix app, where you could also, as you go about your day, it will basically tell you, today's Monday. And so you have 3 greens, 2 purple, 4 red. And throughout the day, you could put in there, okay, breakfast was Shakeology, that's a red. Oh, I put some fruit in there, that's a purple. And it will subtract the amount and tell you how much of each food group you have left. Okay. So if you are, on the fly that day, at least you know what you have left to eat. So for that reason, I liked it. It was very easy to use. And especially with the app, the 21 Day Fix app, it kind of helped you figure out things. And then here's an example meal plan. The one on the left is for the first group, type A, and then the one on the right is for type B. But you'll see, you could see that it's basically a breakfast, lunch, dinner, and 2 snacks. And with this program, it was really kind of chiming in on the whole eating every 3 hours. I remember setting a timer to eat every 3 hours with this program, just to keep my metabolism going and stuff. But it also, some could say it creates a little bit more work just because you are eating 5, maybe even 6 times a day. So these are just some examples of meal plans. If you go on Pinterest or Google, you could find a plethora of different 21 Day Fix meal plans based on where you're at. So that's basically the 21 Day Fix in a nutshell. The 2B mindset is simply that, a mindset. So there's many principles that the nutritionist that created this goes by, and they will stick in your head if you let them. So her thing is water first. So, and I've been applying this every morning and before every meal, and I urge you to do the same regardless of what program that you follow. So water first thing in the morning, drink a full glass of water. Your body's dehydrated, it needs that. Also, try to drink 16 ounces before each meal. It also helps, you fill up faster. It helps things digest. So that's important to do. We always say take your weight in pounds and divide it by 2, and that should be your minimum goal for ounces of water a day. So the more water you drink, the better. Obviously, if you need to put fruit in it or whatever to make it more bearable for you, do that. The scale. So this one I used to not like, but now that I've been doing the 2B mindset, I do like, because it does tell you a lot about the previous day. So her thing is, the scale's your friend. It's not your enemy. And it will help you lose weight, and it will let you figure out what works for your body and what doesn't. And it's so true. So her advice is get on the scale every morning without clothes after you use the bathroom, and before you eat or drink anything. And it's important to do this. Everybody's different. If you're like, oh, I don't want to go on the scale until like monthly or whatever, then do that. There's no right or wrong way to go about this. In your journey, it is a journey. It is a marathon. It is not a sprint. So you do you, right? And if you feel like you're too emotionally tied to the scale right now, I get it, because I was there. But once you get to the point, if you're like really trying to figure out what foods work for your body and what foods really don't, I do urge you to get on the scale and do pretend like it's your friend, because it will show you, what foods make you bloated, what foods make you retain water. I notice, like, when I have salty things the night before, it reflects in the scale big time. If I have that ice cream at night, that reflects on the scale big time. So things like that, where you'll discover what foods work for you and what foods maybe don't. Veggies most is definitely a big step in the right direction that she definitely emphasizes a lot. Veggies are so important to make you full. They give you a lot of energy. And I used to not be a veggie person at all, like not at all. But over time, I've realized the way they make me feel and the energy they provide me, which is important to get through the rest of the day. And obviously tracking. So whether you're a pen and paper person or you use an app, I personally like Spark People is an app I like to use for tracking all my food. I know some people like MyFitnessPal. Beachbody has a nutrition app as well. That's great for you to log your food. Whatever method works for you, just do it, because it is telling, and you might not even realize sometimes when you're putting something in your mouth until you're like halfway in, you're like halfway in it or you're done and you're like, what did I just eat? So it really is important to track to see what you're actually consuming in a day. Okay, so with the Tubi, it's a new way to look at food groups. Like I said, veggies, they're going to make you feel full and satisfied. Don't think of it as like, ew, I don't want to eat vegetables. They really do. Proteins are going to help you feel full and satisfied. You should have protein at every meal. Shakeology is a great example. I've been, having that for years, and now I've switched it to my breakfast, and I really like that for the energy it provides me in the morning hours. Carbs obviously give you energy, so choose ones that you won't overeat. That's a great advice there. And obviously don't pick any with trans fats. And then the accessories. So those are the things that are going to make you, make your food more flavorful, and we'll get into those. So basically here's a big food list for this. So vegetables, I think those are pretty straightforward. Your proteins, you've got your breakdown between eggs, chicken, seafood, beef. Shakeology, Beach bars even have protein in them. Daily Sunshine, which is our kid-based Shakeology. And then all the plant-based proteins. Don't forget about those. All your beans and edamame, tofu, veggie burgers. Your carbs. So this one was really kind of eye-opening for me, because carbs, I don't think of fruit as carbs, right? But she does. But fruit does give you energy. So fruit is in that. Your whole grains, your beans, your starchy vegetables. Those are the acceptable ones. And then you have your silly carbs and treats. And with this program, and really with any program, like I said, we're trying to make this a lifestyle. This is not a quick fix. And you're meant to enjoy life. You're meant to enjoy those treats that you like. It's just to make it less, instead of eating a whole Portillo's cake, cut yourself a sliver, if you can't, like today, I had a neighbor that made me these delicious lemon cookies. They were amazing. I had one, and unfortunately I had to throw out the rest because I knew if I kept them, I would eat the whole bag. It was like a quart-sized bag of lemon cookies, and they were awesome. And I told her, thank you so much, but I just can't keep it in my house because I'm the only one that will eat them, and I will. So just be aware of like your trigger foods, and don't keep them in the house if you can't control yourself with them. Alcohol, beer, same thing. It's all really, like I said, it is a journey. And if you're an emotional eater, a stress eater, that's where the tracking will come into play to help you, because you'll realize maybe in the midst of that stressor that now that you have to track it, you're realizing it. So that's the importance of tracking too. But again, silly carbs and treats, nothing's off limits. It's just, be aware and limit. And then also comes into play with weighing yourself that next day, because on days that maybe you have overindulged in things, you might see it on the scale the next day. And so that just brings another awareness to you. And then here's all the accessories down here. So here's the plated recap. So based on this system, like I said, it's a plated visualization thing, and you could print this off and you could carry it around. You could put it as a screensaver or whatever, a screenshot on your phone to help you throughout the day. But you'll notice at the bottom, we're not talking about a 12-inch plate, people. We're talking about like a 7 to 9-inch plate, okay? So keep that in mind. I know a lot of us have large plates at home. You don't want to be using the largest plate you have. So with breakfast, you're doing 50% protein and 50% carbs, those FFCs that were on the other page. It could be fruit, it could be whole grains. With lunch, you're doing 50% veggies, 25% protein, and then 25% FFCs. Snack is optional. Now, if I go back to remember that first slide where I wrote down my goal? Mine was breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so sometimes I want the snacks, sometimes I don't. I just kind of go day by day based on what I had for lunch. Today I didn't, but I do think it is good to experience the hunger signal that your body will give you. So I would say sometimes, when I was following the breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner system, although it was keeping my metabolism up, honestly, sometimes I wasn't even hungry, but I would just eat because it was like, oh, it's time to eat, and then my body got into the habit of eating, so just pay attention to your body and just, look for those hunger cues of like your stomach actually growling, that you are hungry before you eat. That's how I would suggest whether you need that snack or not. And then dinner is mostly vegetables and a little bit of protein. So whether it's a chicken breast and a big salad or fish or, your other vegan options, that's what your dinner should look like. And it makes sense because at dinner, you don't need those carbs for all that extra energy unless you work night shift hours or a nurse or something like that. Then I would talk to your coach about maybe, changing this up a little bit. But for most of us that go to bed after dinner, like a couple hours after dinner, this is a system that we should implement if you're going to be following the 2B mindset. And so her whole thing is, if you're still hungry after dinner or if you're out at a party, that's fine. If you're still munching away, just follow this system of have a full glass of water, pick vegetables first, then have a protein, then have a carb, and then if you want more, go back into that circle. So, it's just a different way of viewing things, different way of viewing what you're putting into your mouth. And then this is just a sample meal plan based on this. So, vegetables at breakfast are extra credit, but, here's some breakfast options, lunch and snack and dinner, which I could also share if you're interested in doing this system. So which one is better? There's really no right answer. Like I said, I've tried both of them. And I'm kind of somewhere in the between of both of them, but I'm leaning more towards 2B just because I do find it a little bit easier to keep up with. But wanted to just see if anybody had any questions or anything. I see the chat box. So Renee said I could add anyone to her Pinterest boards for resources because she has a ton of resources. That would be awesome, Renee. So if anyone wants to be added to those resources, maybe just type in the chat box. And I said I don't buy caramel for ice cream anymore because of the trigger. Yeah, we all have triggers. So good for you for not buying the caramel.
One thing I wanted to add is if you do find that you're also, when you mentioned the stress eating and the emotional eating, that is definitely a trigger for me. And I know I like, even in the Morning Meltdown 100 tracker, it asks you like, how are you feeling and things of that nature. Because I think you'll start to notice patterns too, like, oh, I was having a bad, Mondays are bad, or I have loaded Tuesdays with meetings and such. I just, Tuesdays are the days that I sometimes struggle with wine or ice cream, which one am I having at night? Because I would definitely can recognize that is like a bad day for me because it's just like a loaded day at work, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So nonetheless, I think like there is truth to tracking. And if you are a person that is maybe an emotional eater, it might be eye-opening. So that was a lot of good info that you shared. And I too myself find, depending on my goals, if my goals are kind of what you showed before, to lose weight, then I definitely kind of pull in reins and pull out those containers. Because I'll eyeball it. After a while, you'll start to get noticed. But sometimes you just need that truthism and really like realize how much does fit into that food container. But overall, I do feel that like the general principles of 2B are just foundationally really good. Good natured water first, and then of course like fueling yourself with good foods first for energy as well. So, and I also find like if I do, because I had to shift my mindset to the scale too. Just recognizing if I do eat carbs at night, like I have to just say it's okay. Like I'm always going onto the scale, going anticipate it, and it's fine. You know what I mean? Like, but it isn't me like going in and being angry at myself because I know what I did. You know what I mean? So as long as I'm sticking with those principles, it seems to work for me. So I agree with you that I do mesh both, but listening to the experts is super helpful because it gives you that like science and why. And, it makes sense. It makes sense. So I appreciate both programs.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything to chime in or any questions or anything?
I do like how you said that you incorporate both of the programs. I tend to do that. What helps me with that is I use the containers for portions though. So I may still be like up on my veggies, but like I always try to keep my carbs and my proteins inside those kind of containers. Otherwise, I tend to overload on those because, well, they're the tastier ones.
Sure. Yeah. And I view veggies as such a freebie, like, and I think I'm a voluminous eater. I think I just enjoy food. So to me, like, the more veggies, the better. I feel good at, like, if I'm going to pull out a big plate, I don't feel bad that it's loaded with veggies because I know I've made them in a good way. I'm not like also drizzling them with tons of cheese and ranch like I used to.
No. Yeah.
So it all comes with like learning how to make it taste good, and therefore voluminous eating is okay in my book if it's the right kind of eating. But it gives you pleasure. So that makes sense.
Another thing I did want to share too, just for challengers as well, is with the emotional eating. I do find replacing it. So if your vice is like tonight, for instance, I'll be totally honest. I really wanted a glass of wine, like before I hopped on this call. So I was like, no, I'm not going to have a glass of wine, Tiffany. So I made myself some hot tea, So for me, it works to substitute. Instead of having that glass of wine, I'll make myself a cup of tea, or I'll have, especially when I'm cooking, I like to have a drink in the summer. So I've been having LaCroix instead to make me feel like I'm having a drink, but it's not adding calories or, stuff like that. So
I'll even put the LaCroix in the wine glass. That makes me feel a little bit better.
I'll just have one instead of
yeah.
Caught myself off.
So just stuff like that. I do suggest replacing something with a healthier version, or going for a walk, or chewing gum, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I think I even heard her say and if you really want it in 10 minutes, go for it. In 10 minutes if you still but I guarantee you're going to talk yourself out of it because you'll realize it's not really hunger. It's tied to an emotion, So in those 10 minutes, you probably worked it out some way, somehow, or you know what I mean? So.
Right.
All right.
Anything else, ladies? Any other comments or chimes in before we end? We've got about 7 minutes left.
I just like how you said, Tiffany, I started with the 21-day fix when I really wanted to see results, when I was like, okay, I'm not buying new pants. So I'm going to do this instead. And then when I got to that weight and now I'm maintaining, now I tend to do the 2B mindset. So I feel like that was spot on with what I've done. But when Renee said, when you need that like truth talk, I like that. Like you need to know how small they really are. Like when your plate keeps growing and growing and growing and you're like, why am I not making any gains? It's like, well, because Amanda, your plate has made gains, you know. So yeah, so I just feel like that was perfect. Like the 2B mindset is like your lifestyle almost, and the 21 day fix is sort of like your gut check, like pulling the reins.
Yeah, bringing it in. Yeah. No, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
All right, all good comments. Well, thanks for hopping on, ladies. I will, this is recording, so I'll upload it, or I'll try uploading it to the, to our Morning Meltdown group, and then I'll put it in the team page too, in case you want to share it in your challenge groups too. But then, yeah, if any of the challengers have a question, reach out to your coach. If you're confused, or if you're like, yeah, I want to do the 2B, but I don't know how to go about it, or the 21 day fix and don't know how to go about it, reach out to your coach, and they'd be more than happy to help you meal plan and, you know, get your mind wrapped around how to view food differently. So
yeah, agreed. I mean, and then not to overwhelm. I always feel like you definitely want to start, like, if you're doing fitness and that like seems really good and easy to you, like start feeling good with one thing before you're like layering on all of it, you know. Like, I know my meal plan is not great this week. I'm leaving for the weekend. I know next week's is not going to be like, I'm not going to be, I'll be graceful with myself, you know, if that makes sense. So don't set yourself up for failure, because you want to stick with it throughout the whole experience, you know. So kind of feel what works for you. And if you are noticing like, okay, I'd like to see this more rapidly going, what else can I be doing? Or it's been a week now and these things are coming up. What else can I do? Or what do I think? You know, guys, we've been doing this, not to say like I've been doing it for 5 years, I'm an expert, but I truly have like gone through at least 14 different programs and for different ways. And I've had different experiences with it all. So we can definitely share with you what's worked for us. And I think that that's the beauty of a community like this, and also like linking arms with somebody who has had that experience too. So use the support. I think that's huge. And be graceful. Be graceful.
Yeah.
Totally. Great point about starting with one thing and then
yeah, I think so badly we're like, yes, we're going to do this, but you know, life, it's life, you know, and we do want that for you guys, and you're going to, over those 100 days, get there. But that is the point, is in these 100 days you are changing. You know, it's not going to happen day one. Over the 200 days you are changing. So be graceful with yourself, because it's summer, y'all. We want to enjoy too, you know, and we will. But for certainly, I think that a support of a group like this is helpful.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you. Good info.
And let's make it a good week. All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.